Hi everyone, it's Saya here. I have a different layout here because we have recently purchased a new camera for me to be able to do some of this video. Hopefully I can do longer bits at a time because before I was recording with my phone and it only had so much memory and I couldn't do long videos. So long story short, here I am with my camera over here on this side and my tablet's over here and I'm working here and I can control the camera with this tablet. So here we are on day 10 of the Robot Junkyard build. I think it's day 10, it might be day 11, I don't remember anymore, but I think it's day 10. And as I had kind of expected would happen, the little Ray robot that we were building broke. It broke into pieces. Here it is. It's dried now. So what I was thinking was that I would take a little bit of plastic and make a little screen. And I would paint some of these pieces and we'd use these pieces in the junkyard. I've also created some little pieces that have dried and they're fine. This one cracked right here where the clay was real thin. And that's okay because like I said, these are going in a junkyard and we expect them to be beat up. Here's a leg and it did not crack. So what I did with this was a little bit different than what I had done with this, and once it had dried then I started carving lines and that kind of stuff into it. So I got a little bit of practice with the wet clay, but I think now I have decided that I'm not going to use that going forward except for small parts. It's just that anything large that I've tried to do over a glass armature, and that's not working because it doesn't give the clay any room to condense. So let me just show you this little guy here. Remember this guy we were working on? Now if you recall, we started with a tape and aluminum foil armature for the head. And we sort of shaped it here, and it's separate from this part that had already dried. And over time, it did shrink. And here you can see some cracking. Let me get that in the light there for you. Maybe I can bring some light down over here. There was some cracking right around here. And that's absolutely fine. In fact, I kind of hoped that he would crack in some places because that would make him authentic with the rest of his cracked up body. So now that his head has dried, and I can feel that it's still a little cool, but it feels mostly dry. Maybe I'll wait a day or two before I paint it. But we have all these other parts. So I'm just going to set the soft clay aside, and I'm just going to move a few things out of the way. So about these, I set these on my desk because I wanted to tell you what I'm going to do with these. We're gonna mold these into junk, into our pile. So, and this is the kind of stuff that we can get wet, and once it's wet, it'll be easy to kind of form and mold around pieces and shapes to kind of make it look like it's got like a heap of junk or a heap of stuff like dirt has collected around an area. So we have all of this stuff that we can work with later. And I'm trying to collect these whenever we find these in packaging and stuff like that. They're just like little pieces of cardboard, just paper, basically. So I'll set those aside and we'll work with those later as well. And I also thought that since we won't be working much with this wet clay because of the armatures, I had kind of hoped that I could put some of the objects and the metal things in with them, because some of them have plastic and you can't really bake those with polymer clay. So instead, we'll try to glue some things together. And I've got some colored hot glue. Maybe we can use these in some ways. And I've also got just, regular hot glue, and we can paint that as well. So there are many options. We also have stickers, some nail art things that we can put on, some holographic looking stuff from nail art from Wish and stuff. And then this I got with an order from Amazon or something like that. And it has all of this leftover plastic sticky stuff. So we can get creative and paint something and then stick this on top of it. We can do whatever we want. We can draw, ink, whatever. Lots of ideas. So let's just keep an open mind as we move forward, as we're painting and decorating some of the objects that will go into our robot junkyard. have a few things there, and we also have a big pile of junk here. Some things that I'm working on that need to go in the oven. Oh, here's Tiny. Hello, Tiny. And some other objects that we can paint and that we can work into our junkyard in certain ways. So I'm going to set these aside. Those still need to be baked, so I don't want Tiny to get on those. Of course, she's going to lay right on these objects. Okay. I've also got a few other things that I want to paint while I've got the pink paint out today. We're going to be making buttons out of these. Here's an arm that I intend to paint. We'll paint that with the hammered rust-oleum. And here's one of the distinguishing parts of that Ray robot that I was building. And I was thinking of maybe putting it together with a piece of lens or something like that, so it looks like a window or a piece of glass that it had been around at one point. I think maybe we can do that with some hot glue. Here's another distinguishing part. I don't know if we'll put those together in any way, but those will also paint with the rust-oleum. Here's a head that I was working on that it got left out accidentally and it dried. And it also cracked wonderfully. So maybe we'll use this part in our junkyard somehow. Maybe we'll just break it or do something, who knows. I've got some old robots that I made out of Sculpey that I've given some, they were red, but I gave them some pink, a base coat of pink. Tiny, that's not for drinking. No, that's not for Tiny. And I've got some other parts around here that I want to start painting while I've got the paint out as well. So I've got some work cut out for me, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I've got this old sweatshirt thing that I like to wear. It's really comfortable. But one of the things I don't like about it are these strings. Every time I wash it, they get more and more weirdly scrunched up, and it annoys me that they don't look right. So we're gonna cut these off, and no, Tiny. So we're gonna cut these off, and I'm gonna use some of them to paint, and we're gonna make some of them like into wires and things. It's stitched in, so I'm gonna take it back as far as it can go on each side. And now I can continue to wear this without the silly strings. Put that over there. Now, let's unravel some of this. It's actually 3 cords, and they're all twisted together. So maybe we'll keep some twisted and we'll wrap it in plastic or something. But for now, let's take this one and give ourselves some good cords. So we'll be painting these. Oh, hello, Tiny. That's not for Tiny, no. Get my paint towel. No, Tiny. Not for Tiny. You can have this. Do you want this string? This string? Okay. Hello again, we're back after I have painted some things and let some things dry. And I just wanted to wrap up the video by showing you some of the things that we've done. And I might just go ahead and give some things a little bit of a wash with a darker coat so that things get nice down deep into the cracks and look really grimy. So here's some of these, this might turn into a core that maybe we fray at the end, and then at the end we have some, you know, maybe copper or something coming out of here to make it look like the wire goes all the way through. And here's our grayish brown looking old boot. Here's some of those parts that we were talking about using for the Ray robot, which I might rebuild, by the way. We might go ahead and make it just a little smaller, and I might go ahead and make it out of wet clay. But we'll see. I want to get good at using it, so we'll try again. So here's this little robot foot. I like the way it kind of moves around and wiggles. It's cute. So I'm going to just make a wash real quick and we'll paint this and then we'll call it a wrap. So most of this stuff I'm using is stuff that would have otherwise gone in the trash, with the exception of the clay that I just bought. But most of the other clay is old stuff, and it's some of the stuff that people have given to me over the years. Here's a pill tab that we've turned into a little button, a little silver button. And I've got pink ones around here somewhere. Some pink ones. I think maybe I'll use these as buttons for a little tape recorder, which I always like to have in my Robot Junkyards. While I mix up this wash I'm going to make out of the darker colors, I'd like to invite you to just go ahead and click on the subscribe button right now. That way you won't miss anything that I do in the future regarding these 3D Robot Junkyards. Well, this is the first one I'm making, so maybe I'll make more. We'll see. Now I don't want to make too much because last time I had just a little too much wash and we ended up having some left over, so I just want to do a few things real quick. One of the things I hate about craft paint is that it can get real crusty in the tops and then nothing will come through. Now see, I was showing this to the camera and I lost track of what I was doing and I poured too much in there, so now I'm going to have a lot. I better put some brown in there, some liquidy brown, not that thick paste brown. Let's go with this. This is some really old craft paint, and I wanted to use it up, so what other purpose am I going to use it for than this? So I've been thinking about the angle that you're seeing things at right now. And I've been thinking a lot about trying to make it a little bit nicer for you, so that you're not so much in the shadows and my hands aren't getting in the way. So maybe next time we'll work with some different angles. We'll pour a little water in there. Now we got a real good nasty wash. Now doesn't that look fun? Hold on a second, let me get a brush. Now the thing about brushes, good brushes, is that you don't want to get paint up in the ferrule. Once you do that, the brush gets crusty and hard. You can never get the paint out from up in there. So if it's a good brush, don't do it. If it's an old brush, one that you've used a lot, then you can use it to mix with and get stuff up in the ferrule. So this is just an old stick. Let's just go ahead and mix it with this stick. Now we got a nice liquidy paint that we can use as our wash. And for this wash, I'm going to use an old craft brush. This is one that's been in the studio for years and it's good at soaking up liquid. So I'm real anxious to start with this one, so let's just go ahead and start with this one. So sometimes people call this process antiquing. I'm just making a mess now. This is how you can make new things look old in a matter of just moments. See how that changed automatically? I'll be doing this for a little bit longer. Just making some of these things just look a little messier. And next time, we'll start placing them into our junkyard. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll come back again soon. Bye for now.